cars are everywhere today, fast, affordable, and built for the masses. But there was a time when automobiles were a luxury reserved only for the wealthy. Roads were filled with horse-drawn carriages, and the idea of every household owning a car seemed like a distant dream. However, one man would change everything: Henry Ford. Ford didn't just create a successful car company, he revolutionized manufacturing, transformed the economy, and reshaped the modern world. His innovations made cars accessible to the average person, creating a booming middle class and forever altering the course of industrial history. Ford's vision and determination turned the automobile from a luxury into a necessity, laying the foundation for the modern automotive industry and the mass production processes we rely on today. This is the story of how Henry Ford revolutionized the auto industry and put the world on wheels. Chapter 1. Humble Beginnings. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, on a small farm in Spring Wells, Michigan. Life on the farm was tough, and most children were expected to work the land. But Henry was different. From an early age, he showed an unusual fascination with machines. While most children helped on the farm, Ford spent his free time disassembling and reassembling clocks, engines, and anything mechanical. This curiosity would shape his future and ignite a passion that would forever change the world. At 16, Ford left the farm to seek work in Detroit as an apprentice machinist. It was there that he first encountered industrial machines and manufacturing processes. He worked tirelessly, learning how engines operated and honing his skills as a mechanic. He soon gained experience in building and repairing steam engines, a foundational skill that would prove invaluable as he set his sights on creating a vehicle of his own. At the time, cars were considered a plaything for the rich. They were expensive, unreliable, and difficult to maintain. The majority of people still relied on horses for transportation, but Ford had a different vision. Automobiles weren't just for the wealthy, they were for everyone. His dream was to make an affordable, dependable car for the average person, something that would change the way people lived and worked. Chapter 2. The first car, the Quadricycle. In 1896, after years of tinkering and experimenting, Ford created his first gasoline-powered automobile, the Quadricycle. It was a simple, lightweight vehicle powered by a small gasoline engine and riding on bicycle-like wheels. The car was rudimentary, without a roof or reverse gear, but it worked. The Quadricycle made its first successful run in Detroit, a significant milestone in Ford's journey. Despite this breakthrough, Ford faced skepticism and resistance from the established car makers. Investors and manufacturers alike doubted that the automobile could ever become more than a luxury item, but Ford was undeterred. He believed in his vision, and he knew he needed to create his own company to make it a reality. In 1903, after several failed ventures, Ford founded the Ford Motor Company with a group of investors, but success didn't come overnight. His early car models didn't sell well, and competitors dominated the market. Still, Ford persisted, learning from each failure and refusing to give up on his dream. Chapter 3. The Model T, the car that changed the world. In 1908, Ford unveiled a car that would go on to change the world, the Model T. Unlike previous vehicles, the Model T was affordable, practical, and reliable. Built for the everyday person, it could handle rough, unpaved roads, which were common at the time. It was easy to drive and repair, which made it an attractive option for those who had never owned an automobile before. At launch, the Model T was priced at $850, a relatively low price for the time, considering that most other cars were priced at over $2,000. Ford's dream of making cars accessible to the masses was beginning to take shape, but he knew that in order to reach even more people, he needed to reduce costs further and speed up production. This would require a new approach to manufacturing. Chapter 4. The Assembly Line, a Manufacturing Revolution. In 1913, Henry Ford introduced one of the most important innovations in industrial history, the moving assembly line. Before this, manufacturing was slow and labor-intensive. Each car was built by skilled workers who would move around the factory, building one component at a time. A single car could take up to 12 hours to complete, but Ford's new assembly line changed everything. By implementing a moving conveyor belt, Ford was able to streamline production. Instead of workers moving around the factory to assemble the car itself moved down a line, and each worker performed one specific task. This method drastically reduced production time, cutting it down from 12 hours to just 90 minutes. With this innovation, Ford revolutionized manufacturing processes and achieved mass production on an unprecedented scale. The benefits were clear: faster production, lower labor costs, and higher efficiency. By 1925, the price of the Model T had dropped to just $260, making it affordable for nearly every American worker. Ford's ability to mass-produce automobiles at such low costs made cars available to the middle class, and by the early 1920s, half of all cars on American roads were Model Ts. Henry Ford had put the world on wheels, just as he had always dreamed. Chapter 5. Ford's Radical Labor Policies. Ford didn't just change the way cars were made, he also revolutionized the way workers were treated. In 1914, Ford made a groundbreaking decision. He doubled the wages of his employees to $5 per day, a wage unheard of in the industrial world at the time. Why did he do this? Ford recognized that in order to build the cars that would put America on wheels, he needed skilled, motivated workers. By offering higher wages, he attracted the best talent, and by reducing employee turnover, he improved efficiency across the board. The $5 per day wage also had another significant effect. Workers could now afford to buy the very cars they were building. This decision not only helped Ford increase productivity, but it also created a new class of consumers, which boosted the economy as a whole. The rise of the American middle class, in part due to Ford's policies, would shape the future of the nation. Chapter 6. The Decline of the Model T. By the late 1920s, Ford's dominance in the automobile industry began to wane. While the Model T had revolutionized transportation, it was also beginning to show its age. As competitors like General Motors and Chrysler introduced more stylish, customizable cars, the Model T's simple design seemed outdated. Consumers began to demand more variety and modern features. Ford was reluctant to change the Model T. He had always believed in the car's reliability and simplicity, but the market had shifted. In 1927, Ford reluctantly retired the Model T and introduced the Model A, which was more in line with consumer demand for style and innovation. While the Model A was successful, it was clear that the competition had caught up. The era of the Model T had come to an end, but Ford's legacy was already secure. Chapter 7. Henry Ford's Lasting Impact. Henry Ford passed away on April 7, 1947, but his impact on the world remains as strong as ever. Ford's innovations in mass production, labor policies, and industrial efficiency laid the groundwork for modern manufacturing. Mass production is now a standard practice across industries, from electronics to food production. His commitment to fair wages helped create the modern middle class, and his vision of affordable cars made automobiles a part of everyday life for millions. The Ford Motor Company remains one of the largest and most successful automakers in the world, but Ford's influence goes far beyond cars. He changed the way industries operated, how businesses treated workers, and how economies function. Henry Ford didn't just put people in cars, he put the world in motion.